Epsom Coates on the front row of the grid as we look down from our drone shot as well. Marshall, the championship leader, by 11 points coming to Silverstone from Mike Epps. The light sequence is underway. 4 on now. There is the 5th light. Out go the lights, and we are in Challenge E-Series racing here at Silverstone, and it's Epps that's going to try and lead around the outside line of Max Coates as they go into box corner. He does it. Coates coming under pressure from Dave Marshall. Marshall on the outside line, the Prime Cirrus car. Max Coates on the inside. Jack McIntyre is next up. But Epps made a really good start there. Now we've got McIntyre challenging and having a good go. So too is Dave Marshall looking up on the inside line. So Max Coates getting defensive here. Max will be pleased with qualifying. He would have desperately wanted a pole. Are we going to get a first podium of the season for Max Coates? I do hope that's not the curse of the commentator. Here they go though, down the straight in towards the Brooklands left-hander for the first time, riding on board with Junkie Bear Jordan Brennan, 6th position. Again, a driver well capable of winning, well capable of taking podia, and they've negotiated that all pretty well. I don't think we're going to have a safety car. I've not seen any bumping and boring further back. Again, terrific drone shot as they come out of that final turn and cross the line. Isaac Smith on the outside line there of Jordan Brennan side by side. Nice tidy start by Mike Epps, a good tidy opening lap video.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was a really clean opening lap. Usually you've got some sort of drama going on, but there didn't seem to be any or not too much contact, not that I could see. So yeah, bad to not have the safety car out on the lap 1. That's never what you want.
Rich Hayden, the race director, did read the riot act. He came and spoke to us before the start of the proceedings today and said that he had gone through that, you know, remember, we're trying to run this as closely to real world as possible. So, you know, very, very keen that we don't get drivers being taken out. Great inset shot of Matt Richards working hard there in 6th position at the moment in the 44 car, chasing Jordan Brennan, putting Jordan under pressure. Robbie Stapleton behind him. Then Isaac Smith, the lap record holder here in the real world, as you heard. Well, Bishop says that, yeah, the fans are going to go bananas for tickets when we can go back. And Arthur Bell says, Simon, the People's Champion Reed. Go Reedy. Where is Reedy at the moment? 17th place. Not far away from the points here at the moment. Is Tugger Reed. Epps still out front though from Dave Marshall. Max Coates is next up, and on the outside line it's Jack McIntyre looking on the inside in the blue Sancho Simsport car, having a go. Epps getting away. Now here we come with 2nd, 3rd and 4th, all pretty close together. McIntyre's got the inside line there. So Max Coates just edged off a potential podium. Jordan Brennan 5th, Matt Richards next up from Isaac Smith, then Robbie Stapleford, Edmondson in 9th, Rob Butler in 10th place from Dan Zelos, then Josh Martin, Luke Kinsey and Ryan Elliott. Wherever you look, all of those guys are potential podium drivers. Absolutely.
I mean, the battle for P2 is allowing Mike Epps to get away. He's already pulled a 1.3 second gap. I think the defending is certainly not helping their cause for trying to stay with the leader. I'm sure Dave Marshall is now going to be on his charge to try and catch the leader up, but he's already pulled a 1.4 second gap now, so yeah, got some work to do.
Dave Marshall will want to grab another win. He won't want to let Mike Epps get away. Teammates, of course, helping each other out during qualifying with the tow, as you heard. And race-wise, they both want the win. I did mean to ask whether there was a little bit of team racing between the two last week. You did see a leisurely pass between one of the others. Look at this great shot as well. The detail that goes into the graphics and gaming is absolutely superb. It really is. There's Simon Reed, People's Champion, having a good race there with Luke Kinsley. Nobody behind him. Lynn Lambert, actually, the chaser in the black car with the yellow trim, trying to close down the lead. Scotty Spears full of Jack Noller and Tom O'Farrell. Would-be far-travelling Scott from the island of Islay, 20th position at the moment, ahead of Kenny Press and Alfie Benny 22nd. Damien Hall back in 23rd at the moment, but Epps still out front from Dave Marshall in P2, 1.5 seconds the gap now. Marshall looking to try and break the toe from Jack McIntyre, and Max Coates in 4th place with Matt Richards right behind him. Jordan Brennan down in 6th, so down, I should say up in 6th really, because to be up at the sharp end is a good call. There's the Riggs Liquimolly logo chasing hard here and about to have a go at Matt Richards and see whether he can just find a little bit of space. The other thing, Lydia, I mean, whether it's Coopers or JCWs, these cars are incredibly evenly matched, aren't they, in the real world?
Absolutely, it's very much down to setup and driver ability. Really, it's not there's not really much difference between the cars, which is it's fantastic, and it makes great racing. It's great to see that the driver ability and the way they work with the team is what gets them to the top, which is fab.
Yeah, any advantage is very, very hard earned, isn't it, in terms of setup or personal work that you put in round after round, race after race. Epps the leader though, 1.7 seconds clear of Dave Marshall, getting away from Dave at the moment. Championship wise, only pulling back 3 points, gets the point for pole position. So the championship need 10 points now for Dave Marshall. Dave not overly concerned, he says, with the overall championship. Well, there is some kudos that goes with that, but it will be after that drive in the Cooper Championship for this year. I hope that he could pull some backing together to do a few more rounds as well, maybe go for the full campaign. Isaac Smith, here we go with the 1-2-3 car, 6th place, chasing Gordon Brennan at the moment. So down the straight, he's going to be ideally looking up a move on the inside line. Too far back to do anything at the moment. Niall Bishop says Thruxton will be a great opener for the Coopers. What a weekend it was in 2020. Thruxton, great experience for you, Lydia?
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of my favourite circuits to visit. I'd never visited there before, and it was just literally like NASCAR racing, 2x2, 3x3. It was minis everywhere. It was mini mayhem going into the final chicane, but fantastic to competing. I've never had an experience like it. It was phenomenal. I'll never forget it.
Coopers is a really good entry. Isaac just getting a little bit of a Mr. Whitley on there in the Cool Energy car. But, you know, again, like the JCW, so close, and we had so many drivers capable of being up on the podium and taking wins in that. And it is a great feeder, isn't it, to learn your racecraft?
It really is, and, you know, an experience like Thruxton where I think something like 7 cars led one race in one race. I mean, how often do you hear that happening? And, you know, the driver that was leading the race on one lap didn't finish the lap first. They finished it about 6th or 7th, which that's just brilliant, and it allows you to learn racecraft and learn overtaking procedures and things like that. It was just brilliant.
We can't wait to see those cars back. Dan Zelos in the mix with Josh Martin there. Zelos 11th place, trying to hunt down Rob Butler, who's immediately in front. Josh Martin ahead of Ryan Elliott. We used to see Ryan, of course, last season, battling it out for podiums and wins and being a terrific backer, and it's not the likes of Josh Hislop down behind him. Luke Kidsley, who's a front runner in whatever he does, in 15th, the last point scoring position at the moment. So Dan Zelos working hard. Meanwhile, looking back at the 37 car on the inset, Jack McIntyre running in 3rd place. Max Coates trying to get back on terms with him. Rob Butler coming under pressure from Dan Zelos now as well. Surprised not to have seen Dan up on the podium so far, but so competitive is this championship. The Comanche Esports car working hard, but he's getting a bit of a workout from Josh Martin as well as they come through into the complex again. Dan, of course, signed up, I think already made the announcement, going to be back with us for this season in the real world, looking to at some stage move up into touring cars. I'm guessing, Lydia, touring cars your ultimate ambition?
Absolutely, it's always been a dream of mine, so fingers crossed that something amazing happens and I can keep trying to climb that ladder. I think it's the pinnacle of British motorsport, personally, in my opinion, so definitely that's the aim, and if I were to make it there, I would definitely say dream come true, something that I've dreamed of for so long. So yeah, that's definitely the aim. It's
just such a buzz, you know, when you're at the track and the cars are on the grid. For me, the biggest is usually that first race of the season when you've got that full grid, all the expectation about to be unleashed on the circuit, the noise and the atmosphere. Even last year without any punters there, that was disappointing not having the public there, but still that expectation was there, and the noise and the excitement. Absolutely incredible thing to be a part of.
It is the whole atmosphere, and you can even feel it when you're sat on your sofa at home. You can feel it through the TV. It's phenomenal, and to be part of those race weekends and to actually be there and see a touring car drive by, I was like, oh my goodness, it's a touring car. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic race weekend and great to be a part of.
Got Plato back this year as well, which we're all looking forward to. It's going to be a mega championship once again. We're on board with Max Edmondson chasing Matt Richards. They go around through Copse Corner, then into Maggots and down towards Beckett's. So this is the Maggots, the little flick to the left, and then this seemingly never-ending right-hander to bring them onto the back straight, where the second commentary box is on the national circuit for the circuit commentators. So good place to watch the racing, and usually the scene of a few passes. So we're coming down straight under the bridge. Max Edmondson working hard here, 9th position at the moment. He's got a little bit of a gap over Rob Butler, who is in 10th position. Mark Bishop's got to disappear, that's a shame. And it says Lydia's doing a great job, awesome job of commentary. Well done, Martin, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And it's Epps now 2.051 seconds clear of Dave Marshall. Marshall under a bit of pressure from Jack Mack. This is the battle for P2, and you've got to say that Jack Mack's got a bit of breathing space. Max Coates is still behind him, but Dave Marshall here in the unusual position of having a little bit of pressure. And this is all about that top prize in the sim category, Lydia. Let's see what the 37 car can do. No, we're going to go back because Max Coates is side by side with Juggy there. Jordan Brennan having a go in the Liquid Molly car. We've got a battle on to second place, a battle on for 4th position as well. Brennan comes out of the slipstream, has a look here, but is in the wrong side of the track as they come down into the complex.
Well, you can get the inside into the next corner, so it's not always a disaster to be on the outside into this corner, because you can try and get on the inside. He hasn't quite managed it here, but he might be able to get the switch back.
Isaac Smith ready to pick up the pieces as well. You can see as they battle hard, bringing Isaac Smith. Isaac quick in his own right, he doesn't need to battling cars to slow each other up. He's quick enough to catch them anyway. He's right on the tail of them. The battle for 4th place. And Max Coates, as we know, is capable of soaking up race pressure. He's doing that for Jordan Brennan at the moment. This is good stuff from Brennan. Isaac Smith in 6th, Robbie Stapleton 7th with Matt Richards. Marshall and McIntyre still involved in their battle, which you can see on the inset. Right direction from Mike Yao, just showing this at the moment. McIntyre hoping, I think, for a Marshall mistake. That's going to be an absolute rarity as they hammer their way along the straight. Marshall's got the line into Brookman's covered, so McIntyre goes to the outside line as we look at the inset, and he's going to try and maybe get a run through the exit of the complex, but Marshall under some big pressure there. It's a job though, where to do, isn't it, these top 6?
Well, Isaac just did a fab move for P5 there, up the inside, so yeah, that was a brilliant move. And he's now on the attack for P4 there, so yeah, very exciting.
Nicely cool, thanks Lydia. So Isaac Smith up into 5th position. Jack McIntyre still is there in 3rd place. I'm tempted to go away and look at the timings because he's got the fastest lap, but I don't want to miss anything. We missed out last week. I made the great mistake of doing that. Missed the lead change when we was looking at the separate timing screen. But Marshall and McIntyre away. X is the leader, 2.25 seconds clear. Great battle for P2, and now Isaac Smith closing down on Max Coates. The 2 Yorkshiremen having a... What is it about Yorkshire? I mean, you're a Suffolk lass, aren't you? But yeah, Yorkshire seems to have so many great sportsmen, and in motorsport as well.
Maybe it's the water they drink.
It could well be. It's the Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, I think that's it.
we all love a bit of Yorkshire tea. Free samples gratefully received. I know many of the drivers have tried tapping up Yorkshire tea to try and get sponsorship and branding, and it would be a good move for any company to get the live TV coverage, for sure.
Yeah, I'm welcome to donations. I'm open to donations, send them my way.
I mean, there you go, Lydia, it's your strapline for next year. We'll get a tea company with the Yorkshire tea lass on the track.
Yeah, that would be fab. I love tea, so that would do well. So,
we're still watching this super scrap for 3rd position. We're around about 3/4 of the way through this first race. Arthur Bell says Yorkshire pie in a bat, maybe. That sounds a little bit too on top of the calories for me, actually, Yorkshire pie in a bat. But interesting one, Arthur Bell. Thank you for joining us and for your comment. As Robbie Stapleford has a look here at Matt Richards. So Stapleford looking to climb a little bit further up. Max Edmondson still working hard in the number 4 car. Dan Seagoss behind them. Now up ahead of Rob Butler. Who's going to be on provisional pole? It's Josh Martin at the moment with provisional pole for race 2. Rob Butler in 11th will be on alongside him for our partial reverse grid. And the points at the moment, and Dorman is in points again. He's 15th place at the moment. Ryan Elliott just ahead of him. Simon Reed just 1 place away from the points at the moment. Liam Lambert 17th. So those guys are looking to try and get some points on the board. So Epps now 2.2 seconds clear of Marshall and McIntyre. We're watching the battle for 7th and 8th place, Matt Richards and Robbie Stapleford. Stapleford in the orange and black 24 car, having a good go. I must admit, I don't know what Robbie's going to be doing this year, whether he's going to be, I think, being the youngest driver, the most we can expect out of him is probably Ginetta Juniors or Junior Saloons, or Fiesta Juniors indeed, because we have a third option, don't we, of Fiesta Juniors in terms of youngsters championships as well.
Yeah, so many options, and there's so many routes now into the different disciplines of motorsport. So yeah, I would imagine that he'll want to be on the Toka package with the Ginettas, but there are so many options, and junior racing at the moment is so tight and competitive that you can learn so much, and it's a fantastic feed into the senior series.
And they're all good, aren't they? You know, I know you raced in Junior Saloons, which is a super championship, great people. The Fiesta Junior Championship I covered for a few seasons, BRSCC's Championship, which is a great competition as well, brought some super drivers in, and then of course Ginetta Juniors as well, that we see battling hard. And they're differing budgets, but again, terrific people and great racing. Whichever one you go into, it's a good launch pad.
You honestly learn so much. I mean, I like you said, I did the Saxos, so I learned front wheel drive, which was brilliant for these minis, and it's just great because it's close racing, but the cars aren't too expensive. You can just go to the scrapyard and pick up bits that need replacing, so it's not too hard on the budget, which is always good when you're trying to learn what you're doing and get to grips of racing a car. I mean, at 14 you're obviously not driving on the road yet, so you need to learn actually the discipline of driving the car, let alone racing it and the racecraft that comes along with it. So yeah, junior racing is definitely so competitive and a great platform to learn on.
Gee, I've never asked anybody who's moved up to juniors before, but do you just breeze the driving test once you get to 17 after 3 years driving the car around the track?
I told my driving instructor that I race cars, and he didn't really want to get in the car with me, but I was so relaxed. I think I got a minor for going too slow on my driving test, which is a little bit embarrassing, but yeah, I think I took it to the other extreme and didn't want to be the typical driving fast on the road. I went to the other extreme and was too slow, but I still passed first time. But yeah, I did pass pretty quickly, which was good. That's
good. We won't go into how many times it took me. It was twice for me.
Oh,
but yeah. I didn't have the luxury of racing a car when I was younger, or actually driving. Talking quite a few years ago now, but we won't go on to the age thing.
No, you're still young, Richard.
Oh, you're far too kind. Isaac Smith 5th place, still trying to chase down. Max Coates has got a little bit of breathing space here, but Isaac's got Jordan Brennan right behind him. Jordan in 6th place. Juggy Bear's trying to close in on him. Let's see whether he could put the pressure back on and reclaim that 5th position. Still ex-Marshall and McIntyre, your top 3 at the moment. Josh Martin's still on provisional pole. Luke Hinsley's got the last point now, 15th place. Simon Reed in 16th from Liam Lambert, and then Tom O'Farrell. Craig Timmins 25th, Jack Davidson ahead of him. Alfie Glennie 23rd, having a good dice, still hunting the mustard and sort of learning his trade in as we ride on board with Robbie Stapleton. We're trying to chase down Matt Richards once again. Let's see if we're going to get a pass here as they come down the straight under the bridge. Alfie Glennie, we're told, passed his test 3 weeks after his 17th birthday in December. Well done, Alfie. Alfie very quick in the BRSCC Junior Fiesta Championship as well. One of the last guys commentated on in that racing and did a good job in that championship. There is the Bajan policeman, Copper Piston, having a go in 246. Josh Hislop is challenging him as well. Josh, another driver, came through the Fiestas and all over the back at the moment. David Hill with a massive following. There's loads of pictures and onboard videos up for us to watch over the course of the week as well. Running in 20th position at the moment, chasing down Jack Noller, but fending off Josh Hislop at the moment for that 20th position. So let's have a quick look at the time. Best lap 1:01.848. Looks like Epps has got the fastest lap point in the bag as well, so we'll pull another potentially another 4 points on the overall championship lead. It's not going to make any difference prize wise, but kudos is going to be closing down on Dave Marshall. We've only got 2 more weekends remaining after today, so it's an international course next week. Richards trying to close down on Smith. Jordan Brennan now back up into 5th place, so good stuff from Jordan Brennan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mike has pretty much got this sealed now, though, hasn't he? He's pulled a gap of 2.2 seconds, and with only 10 seconds to go plus a lap, I think he's been pretty dominant. It's been lights to flag victory for him. So, well, yeah, well done to him. It's been brilliant.
Jacqueline Johnson says, this is a perfect Saturday morning. I agree with that. It's a great way to get us back doing things. Kay Baker says, only the best driver past second time. Thanks, Kay. Love you lots. And so, Epps and Marshall still out front. Epps, I think, is probably taking things a little bit easier now. So Dave Marshall looking back, still with Jack McIntyre, giving him a good workout. McIntyre goes wide here. He's trying to get that run. Is he going to try and make it stick to the inside line? He is. Doesn't quite work. Dave Marshall's time on the sim obviously paying big dividends at the moment. Max Coates still back in 4th. Let's see whether we can get a Coates renaissance towards the end of the race and maybe climb up and have a go at getting up onto the podium. Brennan 5th, Isaac Smith 6th, Matt Richards 7th, Robbie Stapleford, Max Edmondson, Rob Butler. Bit of a change round going on there as Isaac Smith dropping down the order. I did wonder whether Isaac was heading into virtual pit lane, whether he's picked up a problem. He's dropped to 12th now.
I saw that.
Drive through for track limits. Okay, thanks for that, Mike. So Isaac will be gutted about that. We are too. So Brennan 5th, Matt Richards now in 6th position. And it will be damage limitation for Isaac Smith, which is a pity. He's going to be well down the grid, but one to keep an eye on for race 2, a potential charge through the grid as we watch Jack McIntyre. Still giving Dave Marshall a workout here, and again comes out of the slipstream, and he's going to try and dislodge him. He's again going for that very, very wide line, but I think Marshall knows that he's going to hang on to it. The 10-10 car still there at the moment. There is the race lead though. Mike Epps out front, 2.4 seconds clear. And he's going to be happy looking in the virtual rear mirror to see nobody behind him and on his way to another win.
Such a dominant victory that. Lights the flag, it can't get better, can it?
Look at that, a little bit of show back to you as well from Mike Epps. Congratulations to him. Dave Marshall in 2nd place from Jack McIntyre, Max Coates 4th, Jordan Brennan, Matt Richards next, Robbie Stapleford and Max Edmondson, Rob Butler 9th, Dan Zelos, Josh Martin 11th in the end. So it's Ryan Elliott who gets the pole, and it'd be good to see Ryan battling out for a potential podium from the reverse grid. Luke Kisley 13th, Matt Dorman. Simon Reed gets a point as well. Well done, Simon Reed. First point of the season, I think, for Simon in 15th place. So pole position is Ryan Elliott with Josh Martin for the 2nd race, finishing in 12th and 11th respectively in the previous one. Dan Zelos and Rob Butler on row 2, Robbie Stapleford and Max Edmondson on the 3rd row. Then it's Juggy Bear, Jordan Brennan and Matt Richards, followed by Jack McIntyre, Max Coates. Epps and Marshall are next up. The lights are already underway, so we're very neatly into race 2. Out go the lights. Let's see whether it's going to be Martin or Elliott that are going to get away and take an early lead here. Ryan Elliott, we know, a great defender, so he's going for it. Dan Zelos in the mix as well, running in P3 as they go through Cops Corner for the first time, down towards Baggett's and up towards Beckett's on this first lap. The Devanti car coming under pressure from Max Edmondson, and they're all clearing Beckett's for the first time. This is always a little bit of a worrying moment in the real world. Beckett's, when things are very, very tight and evenly matched and bunched, but they've all behaved themselves in exemplary fashion once again. Josh Martin on the inside line as they come down the straight. Dan Zelos is going to try and look on the inside line as well in the 45 car. Nothing quite doing for him there. We ride on board with Zelos, trying to now go around the outside line of Josh Martin. It's Ryan Elliott who's out front. So Elliott the leader, Josh Martin in P2. Dan Zelos 3rd. Watch for Rob Butler trying to come up and maybe look on the inside line from 4th place. Tidy start, reverse grid. This is what mini racing's about, Lydia. That worked out quite well for everybody.
Absolutely. I didn't see any contact, which is always good. I mean, Dan Zelos had a great run through the final few corners, and I believe he's just gone in front of Josh Martin. Yeah, yes. So, yeah, I think he'll be charging down Elliott here now.
So, Ryan Elliott, remember the great defender, I think we called him at Brands Hatch, we first noticed it in that last season. Looking up the inside line is Rob Stapleford, with Rob Butler in the 74 car there as well. Matt Richards coming through. Matt Richards really flying up, isn't he? So from the 4th row on the grid, getting stuck in and heading podium bound at the moment. Dave Marshall back in 10th place, Mike Epstein in 12th, Jack McIntyre is 11th, Max Coates 9th, looking to edge up towards the podium again. Still find it unreal we haven't had a Max Coates podium so far this year, but again just goes to show how tight things are. Max, of course, the very much a key organiser of this championship, has put so much work into it, so a big thank you to him. And Jordan Brenner on the outside line here of Dan Zelos, trying to move up a position. Jordan, always a good overtaker, but one of the drivers I'd love to see get out in the real world.
Zelos had a bit of a nightmare on that last lap. He went from P2 to P7 there, or P8. He's just gone back up to P7, but yeah, had a bit of a nightmare there.
He'll thank you for that, won't he?
Yeah, I jinxed him, I think.
Matt Richards working hard, 3rd position at the moment, so it's Elliot Edmondson and Richards. Josh Martin down in 5th place at the moment, and I'll tell you what, it's like a convoy, isn't it, as they come out of Beckett's down the Wellington Straight and into the complex they go once again. The Norscott vending machine flying its way on the inside line now of Max Coates, the Primex car on the outside line. Dan Zelos up ahead of them. This is still very, very close indeed. Lots of side-by-side racing, lots of nose-to-tail stuff as well. But it's Ryan Elliott that will lead them across the line at the end of the second lap. Max Edmondson still in P2, right on board with Dave Marshall, championship leader. Lead cut just a little bit in race number 1 and over qualifying. Marshall here, key thing for him is he's ahead of Mike Epps at the moment, and looking at the back end of Max Coates in the 71 car. Coates busy looking at Jordan Brennan into Maggots. Is there going to be a line here for Dave Marshall to look up the inside? One thing you won't see Dave Marshall do is an aggressive move, because he knows that he can't afford to lose championship points, as Coates now looks at the outside line of Jordan Brennan coming down the straight.
Yeah, Marshall's being very conservative here. He's just sort of sticking back and letting all the action unfold in front of him. I think he'll be capitalising on this in a second. Yeah, so I think he's letting all the drama unfold in front and just trying to pick his way through. He can't afford any dramas and dropping down to the back of the field from an incident. So yeah, I think probably thinking about championship points more than anything. Nicely
read move there by Max Coates, wasn't it, on Jordan Brennan. Jordan just, I think, maybe a little bit deep into the corner.
Yeah, he seemed to miss his braking point a little bit, and Max just capitalised on that and took the place.
Marshall's through as well there in the 66 car, so the black and red 1010s car up ahead of Jordan Brennan. The great thing about Jordan Brennan is that he will not let that get into his head. He'll just crack on and he'll come back. He's a real fighter. He doesn't let his head drop. You see so many drivers, I see so many drivers in the real world who have a problem and the head drops. But Jordan, I've never seen that in sim racing. He just cracks on. That's why he's won titles in sim racing.
That's always the best way to be, and if something goes wrong, you've got to instantly forget it and just try and make the best of the situation. And usually you can fight your way back as long as the car's not damaged. So yeah, that's a good attitude to have.
Good fighting attitude. We'll see what he can do here. He's 8th place at the moment. Good points to be had still. Ryan Elliott out front from Max Edmondson. There is Isaac Smith. I think he's had a little bit of a rub with Mike Epps, and of course Isaac, having had that drive through in race number 1, he's already got himself up into 12th position here. So Isaac will be keen to get into the top 10, grab a few points. Tom O'Farrell only 1 place out of the points at the moment. He's in 16th. Josh Islop, Luke Kidsley ahead of him. Great to see Simon Reed picking up a point in that first race, and if he can do it again, could be on for my driver of the day. Rob Butler up into 3rd place at the moment, and Matt Richards. So good stuff from Rob Butler.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a fab move up into P3. It's difficult to call who's anywhere in this race. It's just minis everywhere. It's difficult to know who's going to come out on top here. So yeah, just got to look. Oh, it's a little bit of a nudge on the back of Isaac. Oh, he's a bit in the wars, Isaac, isn't he? He's been having a bit of a hard time.
So Rob Butler still P3, Elliot Edmondson, Butler, Richards 4, then Max Coates in 5th. Max Coates is coming through. This is stealth again from Max Coates. We tend to see it in race number 2 having a little bit more of the rub of the green here, and now looking to try and close down on Matt Richards for 4th place. Max has perhaps got the whiff of the podium in his nostrils here as he goes down through turn 1, trying to close down. Jordan Brennan and Jack McIntyre having a good race here. Jack Mack trying to claw his way up through the order as well. Dave Marshall, great progress, 6th position. He's down behind Max Coates at the moment. And we've got Epps from Stapleford going through, then Isaac Smith 11th, Josh Martin 12th, and Dan Zelos in 13th, Luke Kisley 14th, and Josh Hislop. They complete point scorers at the moment, and Tom O'Farrell 16th. So are we going to see Tom manage to bag some points here? Looking to grab his first points of the year. Best finish thus far. Let's see where he was in race 1, but 18th place all Park race 1, his previous best prior to this meeting. As Coatsy getting stuck in, Matt Richards still just ahead of him. Rob Buckler not far away as well. Ryan Elliott still in front now by 1.3 seconds. This is a great drive by Ryan Elliott in the Mad for Mini Motorsport car, looking to grab his first podium of the season. Because he's away ahead of everybody, we're not going to get to see too much of him here coverage wise, so he's away. Max Edmondson in P2. Max has had a win, of course, the 2nd race at Alton Park. 3 other podium finishes as well for Max Edmondson, so we know that he is capable of doing that. This reverse grid scenario, Lydia, very much can give a driver confidence to do something from a position. You know, you might not get a front position from qualifying for the outright first race, but then if you get this reverse grid, it can help build your confidence, can't it, leading a race for the first time.
Confidence is definitely the key word there. I remember my first reverse grid pole, and if you stay at the front, it gives you the confidence to know that you can do it outright, and that's what's brilliant about the reverse grid, because it pulls the drivers that maybe don't have that confidence and don't believe that they can stay at the front, and puts it right in the mix of things. And yeah, it's definitely a confidence building exercise, I guess. And I remember after my first reverse grid pole, I got my first outright podium the next weekend. So I think that's definitely a large part of that.
I think reverse grid racing has always been key for me as Dave Marshall looks up the inside line there of Matt Richards. That's the challenge for 4th position. I know your family from a short oval plate racing background, and of course that's where reverse grid racing was really, that was the key seller, wasn't it, for short oval racing. The top guys always start at the back, and you build your confidence off the front. And the purists in British motor racing over the years have taken a long time to come to grips with it. I mean, back in the day, you would not have seen a reverse grid race at Silverstone of all places, because the old boys would have looked down their nose at it big time, but they've had to accept it now. They have had to get on with it. And this year, F4, we've got a complete reverse grid in F4 coming up this year, which I applaud heartily, as long as the drivers behave themselves. I think we're in for a real treat, but in this day and age, it's just right and proper.
I think it's fab, and it makes much more exciting racing, in my opinion, because it's not always the people that qualify the quickest at the front. They've got to come through the field, and yeah, it brings people to the front of the field that may not usually be there, and then gives them confidence to do it again the next weekend. I just think it's fab, and it makes it so much more exciting to watch.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely superb. Great racing going on here. Look at this battle for 3rd. Great aerial shot for 3rd position. Matt Richards holding sway at the moment. Juggy Bear's having a go down the inside line. Max Coates in the mix as well. Jordan Brennan. This is what I said about Jordan. He doesn't let things get to him. He comes back, and he's done it. He's got up into 3rd place. Great driving from him, but he's got the championship leader right behind him now, and that is Dave Marshall in the black and red 66 car. Matt Richards down to 5th. He will fight back as well. So it's Elliott from Edmondson, Jordan Brennan next up. Brennan with the championship lead. This is a good drive here from Dave Marshall. 2nd in that first race of the day, and chipping away. He is the silent assassin, perhaps more so than Jack McIntyre, on the inside line of the Liquid Molly car here, and he's putting the pressure on Lydia.
He is. It's like a 6 or 7 car battle for this 3rd position. It's fantastic, and you don't know who's going to come out on top. He's definitely not afraid to go around the outside either, is Brennan. So yeah, I mean, look, he's trying to hold that position there now. I'm not sure he's going to quite manage it, but yeah, anyone can come out on top here.
Dave Marshall goes through into 3rd place. Jordan Brennan defending from Matt Richards as well now, at the same time trying to attack the 66 car. Jordan's on the inside as they come down into Brooklands. Matt Richards in the mix too. Max Coates there. Rob Butler back in 7th place as well. And Brennan on the outside line fighting hard. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum on the outside run there. Dave Marshall knows he's got the run through on the inside line, but Brennan, very exciting to watch. And just holding on to position, trying to get back to a podium, for goodness sake.
I know. He needs to be careful that the train's not going to come up the inside though when he's trying to pass for P3 here. I think very quickly he could go back to about P8, so he needs to be careful.
Yeah, this is super racing, isn't it? This is what the Mini Championship is all about. We're into the second half of our second race of the anti-penultimate meeting of the racing season here. Isaac Smith getting stuck in. He's still in 11th place. Nicely hard with Rob Stapleton. He's on the inside line. A little bit of curving there from Mike Epps. Isaac Smith up into 10th ahead of Stapleton now. Meanwhile, back with the battle of Jordan Brennan. He's back into third position. Brennan's done it. He's got back ahead of Dave Marshall. Max Coates in the mix as well in the 71 car. So really, Elliott and Edmondson away, controlling this race very well off of their start here, Elliott and Edmondson, you've got to say.
Well, we haven't seen them at all, have we? They're so quick that they've not actually been on the screen, which is a shame. But yeah, they're just, so dominant like Mike was in that last race. Yeah,
very definitely making the most of the partially reversed grid and, quick enough to be up the front on their own right, race after race, as Max Coates now has got Dave Marshall. This has been, for me, one of the best races of the season that we've seen so far this year. So much place changing. Jordan Brennan, hard work gets him back ahead of the championship leader. He is in third place. Dave Marshall fourth. Max Coates in fifth. Then Rob Butler. Watch for Butler in sixth position. The nose of the 74 car trying to get in and have a look at the 71 machine of Max Coates. Then we've got Jack Mack coming up. Jack Mack now ahead of Rob Butler. You can see in the blue car just trying to get his nose in front and edge back through. Butler's on the inside line here though, side by side into Brooklands. There we go, side on with Max Coates in 71. Coates giving Dave Marshall a bit of a workout. And Max very definitely back on form this weekend. Good race 2 form again from him that we've seen. But this time, by his own doing, great qualifying for Max Coates and super racing too. Elliott, Edmondson and Brennan. Brennan 2 seconds down the road from Edmondson and Elliott. Is he going to be able to break clear and close down on Max Edmondson?
Well, yeah, who knows? I mean, there's only 6 minutes left on the clock, so there's not too much time to try and catch up and then make a move. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
So Ryan Elliott, it's going to be great to see Ryan Elliott back on the podium. I really hope that's not the curse of the commentators for Billy Elliott, or Rydog as he's also known as well. Arthur Bell says, Reed for the points, let's go. He's down in 17th place at the moment, and Tom O'Farrell is up in 15th place in the points. Tom O'Farrell, Luke Kinsley 14th. That's great stuff from him. Kay Baker says shout out to Juggy as well. So Ryan Elliott working hard here. He is out front. There he is in the number 2 car. Max Edmondson though giving him a little bit of a workout now. So Max Edmondson not that far away on the inset. What potentially could be a battle for the lead. The man from Indy Motorsport car out front. The Riggs Esports Racing team car of Max Edmondson in P2. And well, if Ryan Elliott thought he was going to have it easy, then he certainly isn't. Neither too is Dave Marshall, who is now down to 5th place because Max Coates goes through. So Dave Marshall being given a workout as well. It really is a job to know where to look at the moment. But good stuff from Ryan Elliott out front, side by side. A little bit of contact between Marshall and Coates. They are really getting stuck in, Lydia.
They are. I mean, I must admit, I was watching the battle for the lead. Edmondson is definitely piling on the pressure now. I'm wondering if Elliott's going to make a mistake here. He's right on his tail now. He's closed that car length gap that he had, and yeah, who knows, we might have a switch for the lead here in a second.
It's looking as if it might happen, and Max Edmondson looking to back up the win he had in Alton Park race 2. Ryan Elliott, we know, is a quick racer in his own right, and I've said many times a very good defender as well. And this is the view from the P2 car. Max Edmondson goes high and wide, going down towards Tom's corner. He's drawing level with him. He's almost got the overlap out of the number 2 car. Ryan Elliott having nothing there. Is it going to be a gap on the inside line? Edmondson sees the gap, goes through. There's a little bit of a punt between the two of them, a little bit of a bodywork crash. And how is this going to end up? And Edmondson goes through. He's got the lead.
Oh dear.
Edmondson through, but Ryan Elliott still chasing him, and he's on the outside line. These two side by side. Edmondson's got the advantage here of the inside line, but Elliott's still working hard as well. Down in P2 at the moment. Let's see how this pans out as they continue around their lap. They're slowing each other up. Jordan Brennan closing up. Dave Marshall's back into fourth place. Watch Juggy Bear closing in on these two because they are going to slow each other up.
Yeah, they are. Brennan is definitely closing that gap. There's not much time to do it, 3.5 minutes, but if they keep slowing each other up at this rate, it's going to be a 3-car battle for the lead.
Elliott back in front. This is super stuff from these two. Maybe a little bit too robust. I don't like the use of the word robust, but super racing between the two of them. And the significant thing is they're still on. They survived that, which is what most touring car drivers will argue is what it's all about. Edmondson being frustrated so far. P2 for him. Ryan Elliott out front. Juggy Bear's closing in. Jordan Brennan closing. Here comes Edmondson to the lead again. Has a look down the inside line. The MKM Building Supplies logo big in the mirrors of the number 2 car. Where is Brennan? Let's just look back. He's in shot.
So close.
Not quite close enough yet. He's just going to get his head down and try and close in Jordan Brennan. That's a laugh. Last time when we interviewed him, we said second podium of the year. He said he didn't remember the first one.
I definitely think by the final lap they'll definitely be close enough to try and challenge for that lead.
Yeah, this is super stuff, isn't it? Edmondson working hard, looks on that outside line again, and this is bringing another Liquid Molly logo into things as well, isn't it? A little bit further back, Isaac Smith up to 8th now, dicing with Jack McIntyre for 7th position. There is the 1-2-3 car taking that outside line. Rob Butler down behind him, Rob Stapleford, Dan Seelos in the mix as well, with that gaggle of cars all dicing hard. And it's still Elliott, but it's a 3-way battle for the lead now, Lydia.
It is, yeah. I was just watching the screen. It's you don't know who's going to come out on top. They were side by side down the start-finish straight for the lead there, and Brennan is definitely on their tail now, and it's a 3-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, Jordan Brennan, 3rd place at the moment, chasing Max Edmondson. So we go down the Wellington straight. Let's see if he can find the line that he wants. If you're looking for a little bit of momentum, certainly probably picked up a little bit of a toe in places around here as Elliott and Edmondson still dice for it. You can see Brennan not under any pressure, can take the wider line into the corner. He'll close up. You'll see the Northcott logo on the car in front. Chucks back in front of him, Max Edmondson. So Brennan, really the driver that potentially could hold all the cards here in 3rd position. 1 minute 20 to go on this. It's been a super meeting, a great antidote to last weekend's outing, a very tough physical outing that we had, as you would expect, up in rugged Knockhill last weekend. Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport, giving us super racing here. Lydia, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your money on from the 3?
I think it'll be Brennan. I think he's been the dark horse. He's caught up, and I think the 2 in front will mess themselves up, and I think they'll go wide. And I reckon Brennan will take the lead that way, personally.
Okay, sounds like a good.
There he goes,
and he goes through, just as Lydia called it. Through goes Brennan, the top 2, dicing hard. We've now got a 3-way battle to 2nd position, but Jordan Brennan read that well. He knew that those 2 guys were maybe going to come unstuck and go through and came through. Well read, Wormsley, superb stuff. Great. That's exactly what we want of our driving commentator to call that. Edmondson loses 3rd because Dave Marshall goes through. Elliott and Edmondson have had a super race so far, and it's Jordan Brennan out front. 17 seconds left on the clock. I think you're going to squeeze an extra lap out of this one. So Brennan, as we were talking when he got past earlier on in the race, doesn't like to give up. He's just worked his way through. That's why I would love to see him in a race car for real. He's a super racer. And here's Dave Marshall, who's come through, remember, from 11th on the grid, having a good look at Ryan Elliott to 2nd place now. And if he can, try and close down on Jordan Brennan. So the clock's run out. So we will get an extra lap at the end of this one as Marshall looks on the outside line now of Ryan Elliott, who, as we know, won't give up without a fight. Marshall running wide, have to be careful of track limits. Edmondson coming up as well. Max Coates is in this mix too. 4 cars all dicing it out for P2.
Yeah, I mean, which way is it going to go, Richard? What do you think? Who's going to be on the podium?
Well, it's got to be Dave Marshall, hasn't it, to come through for a podium, because he will just sort them out and work out. He's got great racecraft as well as the technical ability of sim racing too, and he's looking on that outside line there at the moment. But Max Coates is on form today. I'm still going to, I'm not stick the neck out and say Dave Marshall because you're not sticking your neck out predicting Dave Marshall to do well, but that's who I think is going to get it. Ryan Elliott though, what a defender. He's on that inside line, still running well. Max Edmondson, of course, in P2. Jordan Brennan now second clear of Max Edmondson. Marshall back in for that third. Brian Elliott in fourth position. And this is the last lap of the race. Who's doing well in the points? Tom O'Farrell still in the points as well, which is good. So we're going to have two first-time point scorers here. Simon Reed and Tom O'Farrell for the first points for this year might be my selection for driver of the day, because they've been working hard, but this has been super stuff. As 3 wide, look at this, 3 wide as they come down.
Don't think it's going to work.
Oh, Max Coates.
That was close.
Coates is on for a podium. We're going to see a first podium for Max Coates. Meanwhile, Jordan Brennan is edging his way around the final turn and is going to bag a first win of the season. I'm sure he'll remember the previous podiums now, and of course he'll always remember a race win. Will Jordan Brennan, and what a race win it has been for Jordan Brennan. Juggy Bear takes the win. Second position to go to Max Edmondson, and Brian Elliott comes through for third place. Brian, well done. What a defensive, an attacking race in the last stages of that to deny Max Coates a podium. That was probably one of the best sets of races we have had so far this year, and the competition getting keener as we get on to the end of the season. What a race, Lydia.
Absolutely. People often say that the National is a bit boring, but I think this race, or the races today, have definitely proved that wrong. It was so exciting to watch, and you couldn't predict who was going to win either, or who was going to be on the podium, which is always the best way.